Hello? Okay. I don't want to present. Can we just deep breathe for the next 30 minutes? Somebody come hold me. Like, I'm not okay. Somebody needs to be on Kleenex. This is a lot. It's a lot in the best kind of way. We're going to start crying. So I'm here to talk today about how I use the standard of care for lipedema and having a successful surgery. And I want to start out by saying that I know this path isn't for everyone. And I want to say that whatever path you choose, I hope you can take something out of this presentation and apply it. Because even though that was the right path for me, I'm a hand talker, this is the problem. Even though it was the right path for me, it's not the right path for everyone. And that's okay. And you have to find what works for you. Our bodies are complicated. This disease makes it so much worse. All the other diseases on top of that make it even more complicated. So you have to figure out what's best for you. And I don't tell you my story to tell you, hey, I figured it out. Do X, Y, Z and you're good. That's not it. That's not it at all. My intention today is to share my story, to give you a framework that you can hopefully work in and be able to customize it for whatever you need. How it started. March 10th, 2009, I had my first surgery ever. It's supposed to be 90 minutes in and out, no problem. 6.5 hours later, a ton of anesthesia, a ton of morphine. I wake up confused. What day is it? What's going on? I don't recognize my family. I don't recognize my friends. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. 4 days later, I wake up, and I see my brother in the room with me, and I'm like, why aren't you at work? It's Saturday. What do you mean it's Saturday? I had surgery on Monday. What do you mean Saturday? Apparently, that drug cocktail of extra anesthesia, morphine, narcotics, sleeping pills, anti-anxiety medication, all of that led to 4 days of me blacking out. That was my first surgery experience. I wish I could say that it got better. Every surgery after that, outcome wasn't that much different. Anesthesia, always a problem. Allergic to most narcotics, but hey, I got that during anesthesia as well. This picture that I have on the left here, this was before, probably in about 2020. I had a surgery. You can see the fear on my face. You can also see disdain. And the reason for that is I had just talked to the anesthesiologist, and I said, hey, I have a history where I don't really do well with anesthesia. He didn't even let me finish talking. He just patted my leg, said, hey, let me do my job, and you relax. I snapped this picture and sent it to the family group thread, said, I'm coming home. And they said, no, you have to stay. It was during COVID, so I was at the hospital alone. And I was terrified. And I come out of this surgery, and I'm a mess. I had received so much anesthesia. I received pain medication that I was allergic to. It took me weeks to get over this simple outpatient procedure. And so compare that to the picture on the right. This is when I went in October for my first surgery. I was FaceTiming with my family a couple of minutes before I went in. Look at my face. I'm smiling. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm confident. I'm ready to do this. Like, let's go into the OR. Put on my Alicia Keys. This girl's on fire. Let's do this. The difference is stark. So how did I get here? So in 2021, I had an official diagnosis. And once I had that diagnosis, I decided, okay, I'm going to head down that path of surgery. But you know what? Every surgery I've ever had has gone poorly. So what am I going to do this time? What am I going to do differently? Fortunately for me, the standard of care had just been released, and I was so excited to finally have something that gave me some answers to questions that had plagued me for decades. Why was I normal, yet I had all of these things happening with my body? And to have that document to tell me this is why, and to actually have a treatment and to have some suggestions on things to do beyond try exercise and lose weight, because, I've never thought of that. Thank you. Let me write that down. Diet, exercise, okay, got it. Thank you. Appreciate you. So that standard of care, when I saw, there's a multidisciplinary approach to how we're going to get ready for this surgery. So I looked at that list. I'm like, okay, medical. nutrition, behavior, psychiatry, compression, lymphatics, I'm on it. I just give me a little something. If you know me, you know I love a research project. I had a research project, let's go. First part, assemble my medical dream team. I know. I say this, and I know how hard it is. 2021, when I walked into total lipedema care and met with Dr. Jamie Schwartz, was the first time in my life that I wasn't gaslit, fat-shamed, or body-shamed by a doctor. First time in my life. And something in me that day snapped, because that is how I should have been treated all along. And when I hear everyone's stories here today, I've been seething the past few days, because I hear all of us go through this. All of us have these struggles. All of us are dismissed. All of us are misdiagnosed and disrespected and not treated with basic human dignity. And to finally find a doctor that did that, I knew I had to find all the doctors like this. And this disease doesn't just affect one thing. A surgeon isn't the only thing. You know you need a team of people. You need a mental health professional because you're all over the place. You need somebody to help with nutrition. You need somebody to help with all of the specialty, all of the things. You got to find them, and you have to go after these people. So I did. First thing I did, I printed out that standard of care, and I took it with me. Because you know what? It was a good barometer. It was a good litmus test to say, if a doctor looked at it and they were dismissive or they were defensive, out. Pass, hard pass, next. And if a doctor looked at it and said, "What? I've never heard of this, tell me more," ask questions, I knew that's who I wanted on my medical team. And look, this wasn't easy. It took a year. I saw 25 different medical professionals before I found my people. But when I found my people who saw me as a person and didn't just see me as a one-off, I have lipedema, I have HEDS, I have this, I had a team that was going to care for me comprehensively, and that was the goal. And if there's just one thing that you take from today, it's this. I want you to advocate for yourself and fight for this. I deserve it. You deserve it. Every one of us has gone through so much. The things we put up with are atrocious. And again, I get so angry as I'm hearing these stories and seeing all these head nods, because it's not right. And if there's anything that you take away from today, I encourage you, advocate for yourself. Push for a team of people who are going to see you as a whole human being and care for you with dignity and respect. And if you want a cheerleader, if you want somebody to help you, reach out to me. I mean it. I will help you. I will cheer you on. I will be your hype woman to the nth degree, because all of us deserve this. This is basic. This is absolutely basic. We all deserve just the right to be treated as humans and for our care to be focused. Nourish my body. This is a tough one. Like, I'm sure there's tons of chronic dieters or serial dieters in the audience here. What's the first thing you do when you have a date for something? I gotta lose 30 pounds by then. Okay, we're gonna count calories, we're gonna cut calories, we're gonna do carbs, we're gonna have this, these are my macros, I'm gonna go swimming, I'm gonna go to this, I'm gonna take 5 spin classes a week. You start doing all of the mental calculations of how can I drop all of that weight before surgery. That's what I used to do. Clearly, that didn't work. So what am I going to do this time? Okay, let's just focus. Protein. I know that that's going to promote healing. Increase my protein, whatever way that I could. 8 weeks before, 8 weeks after surgery. I prioritized that. I increased iron-rich foods. I want to make sure I didn't have anemia during the surgery, so whatever way I could get the iron in, I did. Vitamin regimen. I found some deficiencies in my blood work. We got on some vitamins, great. Anti-inflammatory foods. This was a big one. Because for someone who has a shady past with food, it's very difficult to not focus on calories, not focus on carbs, not focus on food groups. And instead, I said, okay, I did that before, it didn't work. Let's take another approach. There are foods I eat, and I feel good when I eat them. And there are foods I eat that make me feel awful. So more of the good things, less of the bad. That's it. And I say all of this, and I say sometimes, this is hard, and emotional eating happens, and sometimes you have to eat your feelings, and sometimes your feelings are a crusty baguette with butter, and that's fine. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. For my perfectionists out there, the goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. The goal is consistency. You don't have to be perfect. Your food log doesn't have to look amazing. You don't have to hit all your macros. You feel good eating it, eat more of it. You don't feel good eating it, try to eat less. And if you do eat something that doesn't feel so great, you start again tomorrow. And that consistency applies to movement as well. You have to pick something you enjoy and that's sustainable. You can't punish yourself with exercise. You have to do something that you love, something that you enjoy, some incremental movement, something to build strength and stability that you're going to need after that surgery. For me, it was swimming. And I'm telling you, the natural compression aside, which is fantastic, for me, that time in the water was a break every day from pain, from the heaviness, from the back pain, from the joint pain. And it was almost a gift of looking into the future of what my post-op body could feel like and reminding myself that this body is strong. It's not broken. There's some things we need to address. It's not broken. And being in the water really, really helped remind me of that. I also incorporated some vibration plate exercises. Love that, because when I was feeling strong, I would do some strength training on that thing, and I was unstoppable. And then there are days I had to pull it up to the couch and just put my feet on it and let it shake out some lymph fluid on its own. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one. I think all of us know every last one of these: forward and backward compression, MLD, all these things to manipulate soft tissue to help your lymphatic flow. Again, it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. The more that you can do this, the softer you get your tissue, just the more you're setting yourself up for a good outcome. Limit decision making. I have a little hamster. This is how I jokingly refer to the part of my brain that's always active. This hamster is my project manager, and my hamster loves details, and my hamster loves to go all in. And I decided I'm going to let my hamster go to get us ready for this surgery, because guess what? There's a lot of work that goes into it. But I'm going to give my hamster a break for surgery and recovery. And so I wanted to figure out, how do I get everything in place so I'm not constantly having to deal with all of the moving parts as I was having surgery and trying to prepare my body to heal. That was having an essential list of items from surgery. Simplifying my outfit choices. Do you remember Granimals? The top and the bottoms match? My Granimals color palette, you saw it this weekend, black and denim. Any outfit that I picked after surgery, anybody could go into the closet and pick a pair of pants, a top, and know that it's gonna match. I had this massive document that had all of my surgery details. I mean, this thing was, for my Type A people in here, y'all would have loved it. It is a Google folder with spreadsheets and documents, and it was sent to everybody where I was going to be, my doctor, who the nurse was, who the contact is, an email, where I'm staying, who's coming in on what time our flight is, all of it in one place. And the goal of that was that once my hamster was on a break, somebody else just had to deal with that. If we had to reschedule an appointment, I don't have to come and tell you what the phone number for the doctor's office is. It's in the Google folder. That was absolutely one of the best things that I did. And then obviously preparing a little bit for when you get back home, having some meals in the freezer, having a plan for somebody to be there to kind of get the house ready, clean sheets, all of those things that you're rushing before you go and you're just trying to get out the door, and then you come back and it's like, I really wish that the bed was made and I had the laundry was done. So having a plan in place for that is critical. So that's the physical piece of it. That's the logistics piece of it. But for me, what really, really shifted was the emotional and mental piece of it. I read this book called Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster. I highly recommend this to anyone. I could go on about this for hours, but the premise of this book is that there's a surgery protocol, and when you follow that protocol, there's outcomes. And there's a whole study around it done at Harvard that showed people who followed these steps before surgery and those that didn't. And it looked at their outcome, and they needed less pain medication. They had less pain. They were more active. They were happier. They didn't have as much, depression post-op. So I took a couple of things from that really hit home for me. And one is all about reframing negative thoughts and beliefs about surgery and my body. So this one was tough because I've never had a positive surgery experience. So anytime I talk about surgery, it's always through the lens of, I don't do well with anesthesia. I'm not going to have a good recovery. I can't take a lot of medication. This isn't going to be great. Everything. And I started noticing that about myself. And I really had to shift my thinking to say, no, it's not going to be like this time. It's going to be different. This time, I'm preparing differently. I'm in a different mindset. This is going to have a different outcome. And just shifting that was so powerful. But I also had to apply that to my body, too, because I found that as I was going through this, when I was talking about this surgery, it was all about, I need to fix this body. I got to fix these knees. I got to fix, everything was about fixing. And I really started to view my body as broken. And when I read this book and I was reading about how to reframe those thoughts, I really, really wanted to lean into this body is fine. It's more than fine. And I don't need to fix it. I don't need to make it better. It's good. It's worthy. It's deserving of love. It's deserving to be pain-free. That's it, period. Full stop. Excuse me. The other thing that came out of this that I really enjoyed was talking about positive affirmations about the surgery outcome. And so when the author was talking about, have a list of things that you want out of this surgery. And it was simple. And I shared it with the surgical team, and they actually read it while I was under anesthesia. That's the recommendation. And it was simple things like, when I wake up, I will be hungry, I will be thirsty, I will be able to use the restroom like usual. I will be able to walk, I will feel strong, my legs will not have pain. And we read that, and there was something so powerful about stating that intention of, this is what I want. This is what I want to happen. And I know we can talk a lot about manifesting, and I know a lot of people just have different thoughts on that, but there's something so powerful about just stating what you want and putting it out there and knowing that you deserve that you deserve to have that. And obviously, relaxation techniques, right? So anything, the deep breathing, the meditation, anything to just calm your body, to just create that place of healing and that place of calmness. This one was hard for me because, like I said, I have the hamster. Anytime I would sit down, my hamster would be like, but there's 100 other things that we have to take care of. So if you could wrap up the deep breathing so we can get back to the spreadsheet, that would be great. Prepare for emotional turbulence. I've done good so far. I think this part's going to get me. You have to be realistic about what your surgical goals are. I recognized early on that I have neglected and abused this body for decades. I've allowed medical professionals to neglect and abuse this body. I've tried to starve it into being smaller. I've tried to work it into being smaller. And I'm not fixing that with one surgery. One surgery isn't going to take care of all of that. But what do I want out of this surgery? I need a break from the pain. Just a break, just a small break from the pain. If I get a break from pain, that's success. I need some of my mobility back. The loss in mobility that I had in a relatively short amount of time was so frightening to me. And for somebody who is very independent and who loves to travel and I'm just out. And I found myself not wanting to go anywhere, not wanting to see anyone, not wanting to do anything. And that's not acceptable. I didn't want that. I want my mobility back. So I thought, okay, these two things, those are my goals. And if I get that out of surgery, we're going to consider this a success. The next is connecting with a support network. Everybody here knows this community is phenomenal. And I tapped into that as much as I could. There's so many of you that I reached out to, and I sincerely thank you for everything that you shared, for being open with your journeys about surgery, for sharing the good, bad, ugly, all of it, and being willing to talk about it. And that's something that I want to pass on to other people who are having surgeries as well. But lean into that, because managing chronic illnesses is so lonely. It is so isolating, and it's so easy to just pull into your shell and just get your head down and just try to go through it, but you don't have to, because there's all of these people here that are going through the same thing, who know what you're going through and can just give you a little bit of support and love to get you through this. This next one, also tough. Expect changes in body image and body dysmorphia. So at 5, I was hyper aware of how big my chubby little body was. And by 8, I was dieting regularly. So to say that I have a disordered and dysfunctional relationship with food and my body is the ultimate understatement. And know that one surgery isn't going to undo all of that either. Many surgeries aren't going to undo that. There has to be a lot of work that happens in that. And one of the most powerful things that I did before surgery when I was working with my trauma therapist is gratitude. And not in this normal sense of what you hear of gratitude, but it was gratitude. We specifically sat down. This was so hard. We sat down and she said, tell me body part by body part, what are you thankful for? What are you thankful for that your feet have done? What are you thankful for that your calves have done? Man, if you'd told me, give me a list of things you don't like, I'd have busted that out and been like, I need this, and I want my calves to look like that, and I want my thighs like this. But to sit and think about gratitude and what I'm thankful for, that was tough. And that work led to one of the most powerful parts of this journey for me, which is standing in the pre-op room in front of a mirror in my gown with my red Sharpie circling the areas on my body that there's pain. This is especially nodules here, this part here, and looking at that and saying thank you to my legs, because that was the first place in my body where I knew something was not right. And that alarm went off at 10 when I looked at my legs and they went from being just normal chubby to a little more chubby, and within 3 years they were gigantic. And they kept growing and growing. And rather than looking at those legs with the disdain and hatred and repulsion that I had and wanting to just rip it out and just be done with it and just get it off of my body, I stopped and I thanked my body. I thanked those legs for sounding that alarm, because I listened this time. I found my people who are going to help me figure out what to do next and how to keep it from getting worse and worse as I got older. And I thanked them. And there was something so liberating about liberating your body from the literal and figurative weight that it had carried for years. And to be able to do that and to go into surgery not ready to rip it all out, but to just liberate my body and give it a chance to do what it always wanted to do and what it always could do. Wide array of emotions. All at once, too. That was my favorite part, where I was crying and laughing like maniacally at the same time, and I don't understand what that is. But anticipate it and have some people that are going to come in, put on the hazmat uniform, and do the emotional mess cleanup, because there's a lot of emotions, and you're going to feel them all, and you'll feel them all at once, but that's okay. So in that first surgery that I had, it took me 3 weeks to get normal again. That's how long it took to manage my pain. That's how long it took to get the anesthesia out of my body, to be able to take a deep breath again, to be able to move. I laid in bed for 3 weeks. I didn't move. I didn't go anywhere. Just 3 weeks. I was so out of it, completely just recovering, trying to figure out what had just happened, because I kept thinking, is this normal? Like, is this how people have surgery? I see all these people who are just out and about and it's fine. Why is it different for me? Spoiler alert, if you have EDS, anesthesia is not your friend. And the more that you can talk to an anesthesiologist and understand, and that was such a key for me. Part of that medical team was an anesthesiologist who actually listened when I said I have a problem with anesthesia and actually did something about it. Novel concept. And so how did it end up? This top picture was 4 hours after surgery. 4 hours post-op, I'm smiling, I'm taking a selfie. I couldn't believe that I was actually awake and alert and able to stand up and just feel normal. The week that I spent in LA recovering, we were out every day, walking the Santa Monica Pier, walking through Beverly Hills, at the Grove, out to eat, delicious pastries, all of it, all of it. And I was blown away, because I had never in my wildest dreams expected that this would be my recovery journey. I was going into it hopeful that it was going to be different than last time, and I knew that it would be because I was different from last time. But I was still blown away by this. And when I look at, since my surgery, and I look at my goals, and I look at what I wanted less pain, which I have. I wanted more mobility, which I have. And when I look at how much I've been active since then, I had surgery October 18th. In the last 6 months, I've walked 10,000 steps a day, compared to before, where it was close to 4 and 5. And I know that not everybody's journey is that way, and I know that everybody doesn't always have the same results, and I know that it's a different journey for everyone, but I just encourage you to take what you can from this, to apply, and help you a little bit in your journey. And one other thing, full disclosure, I had to apply some of these techniques earlier in this week about reframing negative thoughts and dealing with body dysmorphia. So a couple of days ago, as I'm packing for this trip, and the outfit that I wanted to wear didn't look right on how I imagined it would be, and I started thinking, well, my arms look like this, and my stomach is that, and the downward spiral began, and y'all, I legit thought about not coming, because I was so upset with how my body looked at that time. And when I think of what I would have missed out on by not being here, this amazing weekend, these amazing humans who have made me feel so accepted and heard and seen and loved, and to know that I would have missed out on that because I thought my stomach looked weird. I mean, I felt so ridiculous. And I also felt like an imposter, like I'm gonna come talk to you about how to be more confident and how to have a good surgery and whatever, and here I am crying because I hate how my legs look in this outfit. Thankfully, I pulled myself out of that downward spiral, and I'm so thankful that I came here, and I'm so glad that I was able to come and share my story. If there's anything, thank you. And for those of you where surgery isn't the path for you, I hope that you can take something from this and apply it. For those of you that are having surgery and that's the path for you, I wish you nothing but health, happiness, and active recovery. If you want somebody to talk to about anything, if you want to chat about anything, you can reach out to me. I started actually putting my surgery journey on a blog. It's actually just therapy for me, really. I just talk about just all the things that are rattling around in my head. And I named it the way I did, and it has lipstick print because for me, one thing that was important in this journey is that a lot has been taken along the way, yeah? But lipstick always fits. I will always have a bright lipstick on. I will always be happy. I'll always put on a lipstick. I didn't pack a lot of clothes, but I packed 6 tubes of lipstick for that surgery. And that's the attitude that I want. I'm not going to feel like I'm not going to lose myself as part of this journey. And I really appreciate the opportunity to speak here. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate it.